All this brand new Medius hype, I figured we should probably dig into the themes for this. Make sure you guys smash the crap out of that subscribe button so you guys don't miss out more on us. It's really cool to see that Medius got another wave of support, now that we're opening up the door to actually seeing, what more we can possibly get with this. How's pricing holding up? Well, Medius the Pures for Starlight Rares are coming in at about 106 right now. Obviously, these have long since been pushing down. I think your all-time market high, I remember these were hitting like 200 there for a little while. But, just a month and a half ago, these were 150. So you're already rewatching a massive rewind coming down on these and actually plummeting back into the ground, which is really, really good. You have $28 copies of the sneak peek version, which is to be expected. And then, of course, the ultras. What you don't see over here is, of course, the Ultimate Tournament Pack 1 version, which is another Ultimate Rare, which will go on sale, well, they won't go on sale. They'll be tournament pricing starting from this weekend on. And I think, obviously, there's also the Winter Mediuses and stuff, too, coming in the upcoming WCQ season as well. So, including, I think, the Judge. There's a lot of Medius coming out here that we can kind of expect to be doing some interesting little developments in the near future. And honestly, we'll have to wait and see how that's going to go. But yeah, Medius definitely is doing his thing. Now, what about all the support around Medius? Art Mage is, our grand start. And obviously, Non-Finito here is pretty cheap on the Starlight front. You have one for $25, $27 on up to like $32, the way it looks. But obviously, as you're kind of scrolling on through here, this is a decent amount. Obviously, $40 is not too terrible. But okay, so Non-Finito's doing its thing. This card was also massively splashable within the engines. I kind of expect that. The Acropolis is coming in about 21 right now. Skating by, about 21. So, if you're wanting to upgrade this still, the Art Mage package as a whole is still not doing too terrible on the Starlight front. Now, Finmels are still about 30, give or take a little bit. Art Mage Varnish is 29. Also, with the new stuff, we're able to get access to Ditorius, which, guess what? This is an extra deck piece that you're able to very easily bring out off of the new stuff. And these are still $30 a piece, so I don't really think that's too necessarily bad. Groffler Starlights are still 15s. Base Art Mage Academy Acropolises are $5 to $6 a piece, which I don't feel like is too necessarily bad for that. And then, of course, base Non-Finitos are pretty cheap. So, God, this is all incredibly cheap. I'm glad to see that, the Art Mage core itself, I know a lot of people really enjoy these new lore decks and the ability to play them, but price point is definitely a option of discussion kind of going forward in these. Now, Doomsy had one of the biggest rags to riches recoveries I've ever kind of seen in a modern era Yu-Gi-Oh theme, because a lot of people looked at this and they were like, oh, this is terrible, it's not really exciting. And then all of a sudden, the second wave of Doomsy support hits very, very, very fast. And we saw the massive recovery of Drastia Starlight Rares, going up in one of the quickest turnarounds I've seen. But now it looks like we're finally heading down a little bit. One big question that's been kind of asked as we're going into, the WCQ weekend here is, how will Doomsy perform? We have no real major tournament results kind of back us up. And then this weekend, we have 3 WCQs. So, we'll kind of wait and see. Drastius, this is 43 now. This actually has also calmed down, because it's crazy because you have a market price at 63, up here at the top. And then, they're already pushing down to $43. So looks like the globalized cool off is kind of beginning on this. Meanwhile, Almathis are still 27s. Graflarios are 24s. Your base Drastias are down to $6 whole a piece. So not even the real base copies of these really ended up staying at a decent price point. It just looks like, we've been pushing down a lot more on this. Doomsy Raiders is $1. That's actually kind of crazy. A super rare from Doom of Dimensions is actually holding up. Okay. you really got to pay attention. The little penny stonks within these sets paint a lot of very interesting stories and tell us a lot of things. Here's your other Dictorius that you can actually special summon out of the extra deck and get access to. So, you know, you have 2 Dictorius options for the Power Patron stuff to access. Now, of course, we can't forget about Elf Note, right? Elf Note, the Synchro slot pile, is definitely one of the more well, I guess it's being pretty explored right now because, you know, it's the synchro good stuff pile, right? Like, the goal of this engine and deck is to be able to make as many big synchro lines as we possibly can. And obviously, Lucinia is the main piece of this. $86 a piece. It's pretty crazy. $55 copies of Tenia. The Elf Note June Pride itself is $49. That's pretty impressive. Regenas are 56s. Like, take a moment to just think about, you know, how expensive this is. To be fair, though, these are also old Starlight Rares. So maybe new ones will be cheaper. A lot of people do not like the new Starlight Rare, which is kind of crazy to think about, but okay. And then, of course, we do see the Seraphim coming in at 36. Base Secret Rare Lucinias are 20 to 21, which I feel like is okay, all things considered. We do get to see Regenas are also a decent price point here. You can get the Japanese Super for $7. Actually, it's crazy to me that people think they're going to get that. 11s. No, it's just not bad. Tenias are $2 basically after shipping. Looks like Seraphims are also up there. Elf Note June Prides are 50 cents. It's crazy that those tanked into the ground as quickly as they did, but I'm not necessarily surprised to see this. And then, of course, the Power Patrons themselves. You know, these were the big guys that kind of stood above in the lore. You know, each one of the themes got one. And then in very Konami fashion, we started plugging in, you know, the upgraded forms of these, which, you know, in terms of modern era power creep, you know, tells you one thing. Jupiter is coming in about $52 right now, which is all right. Nerva, the Power Patron of Creations, are coming in at $41. There's also the Power Patron, the mini guys that can warp into their other base forms that we have to kind of, you know, bring out through Medius. These are still 33 to 35 a piece, which is not bad. Ginaldos are 25s for the Starlights. To be fair, Ginaldo's like a one of, so I'm not really losing any sleep over that. We have $8 copies of these, $5 copies of Nervas, and then these are 3 to 4. You see the $1 to $2 copies of Ginaldos. Your Jupiter Power Patrons coming in $1.50s. And then, of course, the Terminus Gate is actually about a $2 card. This wouldn't be something that I wouldn't be surprised to see Konami at a little bit of a later date actually push a rarity upgrade for, you know, considering what it is. Archmage Power Patron, 25 cents. And then, of course, you know, Junora being a super rare is so ugly, but we also do have the Purification Power Patron. This is also very, very cheap, but now you have another Power Patron that, you know, we can plug in to the theme and to the lore to be able to kind of do its thing with. And then, you know, poor old Jerpedo is a whole 6-cent card because he doesn't really get any real love. And I mean, like, that's the Archmage stuff in general for you right now. I do want to say, though, all things considered, for, you know, the current lore and everything that we got, you have 3 more versions of Medius that are going to be hitting the market here. Like I said, you have the winner, the judge, the store championship promo winner. I mean, there's 3 cards on that level, and then there's the ultimate rare coming. It's potentially 4 different versions of Medius that are going to hit the market. Like, this card is not going to stay at the current value that it's at. And I think it's very important to understand and to look at that and to go, all right, well, if this is how the market's going to handle this, then, you know, I'll have to wait and see. But right now, I mean, this lore, the new cards are very, very, very nice. I do look forward to seeing, you know, how they're going to actually impact things here in the near future. So take a second to, you know, leave a comment down below. Tell me what you guys think. I mean, the current market pricing is always a wild thing to see on these things, but people are willing to pay the prices on things. You guys have a good rest of your day, all right? Patrons, thank you.
Thank you so much for watching. Check out these other videos.